Good morning. Good morning. All right. I hope everybody's ready for this Monday and we are ready to go. So, look, today, what we're going to talk about is JJ did tie buckle. And if you were a Marine, it's one of those things that you learn early on in boot camp, right? And so, but today, what I'm going to do is I'm trying to associate it with multifamily and how we can find it useful in our world. All right. So let's start off with the first J, justice. We want to make sure that every single thing is fair, make sure that we're not showing any sort of favoritism, those types of things. How would I associate that to multifamily? One of the first things to consider is we want to evaluate all of our deals. We want to evaluate our partners, employees, any tenant, every single one of those objectively. We want to make sure we're looking at it objectively. So we show some justice in those arenas, right? The second one, judgment. We want to make sure that we're making sound decisions. We got to understand what the situation is before we make a decision. And how do we actually look at that in the world of multifamily? Think about this. Let's say you're looking at a brand new apartment complex, or you're looking at a complex that needs a little bit of TLC, and you've been given a series of numbers, but you love the property. Now, when you're underwriting it, the underwriting doesn't show what you're expecting, but you're still in love. What we want to do is avoid allowing our judgment to go off on some tangent or to keep chasing this property just because we love it. So our judgment needs to be on that underwriting. Dependability. We have to be able to depend on our brokers, insurance agents, general contractors, partners, every single person that's in our world. We have to see that they are dependable, that they're going to actually come through when the situation gets tough, right? Initiative. Do our partners, do they actually work through and make things happen even when they are not being told to do so, right? So we have to make sure that uh, we're working with people that are going to actually go out here and take the lead and make things happen. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now the next one, decisiveness. We've got to make timely decisions. We can't be sent some you know profit and loss statement and take months and months and months to get back to the broker. We are sent a profit and loss statement, or when we're looking at a property, we have to get in there. We have to be decisive. We have to keep moving things forward. What we absolutely cannot be is indecisive, because that's going to be dangerous. It's going to cause us delays, and we're never going to be able to make things happen. Okay. Tact. We have to be sure that we are leading by example. We're not just giving orders, right? We're not just giving orders. And we have to understand that when we communicate with people, everyone has their own communication style. So just barking out orders isn't necessarily going to make things happen. So let's make sure we continue to work forward a little bit with tact. Integrity. Let's do the right thing. Let's make sure that even if something could be easier by not following the correct path, we still want to make sure that we are working forward with integrity. Perfect example. Let's not manipulate the numbers. Let's not hide the problems that we're having. Let's not promise investors something that we know those numbers absolutely do not support. Enthusiasm. We want to make sure that the team takes the cue from us, that they are emotional, they get excited about things, they're ready to go. If we stay enthusiastic, our team will be enthusiastic. Okay. Bearing. Carry ourselves with a little bit of confidence. Make sure we're showing some professionalism. Make sure that we're showing some self-control, because it is quite possible the lender could change the terms on you. Contractor could fail to deliver by a deadline. Occupancy may drop. Just because those situations happen, do not mean that we need to start losing who we are. All right. unselfishness, partnerships, all of those things. We need to make sure that we're working towards the greater good of the partnership, not just ourselves. Okay, that's very important. We are working forward for the greater good of the partnership, not just ourselves. Courage. Courage doesn't mean just go out and blindly make something happen. Courage means that sometimes we may have to renegotiate. Sometimes we may need to walk away. And we have to have the courage to do those things. Knowledge. We got to understand the NOI. We got to understand the financing. We need to know how to do our due diligence. We need to know what our markets are, our property management company, how they work. All of those things are very important. And if you don't have the knowledge on them, you're going to have some holes. You're going to have some gaps. Loyalty. Protect those relationships. If you've got a great broker, make sure that you're working with your broker. Don't mess them over. Make sure that if you have a good partner, you're working well with your partner, property management company. All of those people, if they're showing loyalty, we need to also show loyalty to them. Endurance. Sometimes deals are going to fall apart. Sometimes they're going to take much longer than we think they're going to take. And in those situations, we've got to be willing to work through it. We've got to be willing to work through it. What we don't want to do is have a deal that could be awesome. And because we don't have the endurance, we don't have the mental fortitude to work through this, we let it fall apart. Okay. I hope all of those are helpful to you today. Remember, JJ did tie buckle. Okay. Have a great week, and I shall see you next week.